chat. My goodness. Happy Tuesday. A little trade day. Couple days before the trade deadline. We're already seeing some action, some moves, and it's shaping tonight's slate from this far out. There's still gonna be more. And yeah, it's already chaos dealing with these giant slates for DFS. So a little bit added fuel to the fire tonight. But it's also kind of fun, right? Especially if we can parlay all this movement into some extra money tonight. So we're going to do our due diligence, if you will, to find the best plays on tonight's DFS slate. I'm Gun, twitter.com/Gundacker. If you're new to the channel, hit that thumbs up, hit that sub button, and let's be great. Let's set records. A week ago today, man, we were on some record-setting stuff. So I kind of think today could be pretty big too. I don't know, man. Looking at how big this slate is, might pick up some traction. What am I doing? I'm looking for. Oh, I gotta open up the dog. What's up, chat? Are you guys doing all right? How'd you guys do last night before we go full head of steam into this slate? Hopefully you guys did well. Donovan Mitchell led the entire slate last night in fantasy points. 32 real points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Mitchell Robinson, number 2, at 19 points, 21 rebounds with 5 stocks to boot. Devin Booker, 54.5 fantasy points on DK. DeMar DeRozan with another 50 bomb. Keeping that game close. They ended up having Zach LaVine, who dueled with DeRozan with a 50 bomb of his own, 30-plus real points. Siakam was my favorite play on the slate, my highest owned player. He dropped 52, but kind of ironically wasn't even in the top 5 in terms of fantasy points scored, and then so on and so forth. It was, kind of what you expected from a slate like that. A lot of ugly totals, a lot of lopsided totals pre-flop, and then a couple of injuries. Big Gordon Hayward ownership ended in him going to the locker room, being rolled out pretty quickly. So there was that. Hopefully you guys didn't suffer too much. Let's go home, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go home. Let's go home. Let's go home. Let's go home.
Bing bong. Duck ya life.
Okay. Bing bong. What's up? Mia Moore, Cheyenne, Scott. Thumbs up for this. Going to be a crazy slate. Stars and Blazers, Nets. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of tightened rotations too. A couple teams that could have less than 10 guys realistically, maybe less than 9 guys part of the actual rotation here. Cheyenne says, I find myself getting to 1 or 2 extreme value plays, then 7 or 8 guys between 6 and 8 have some stars and scrubs. Yeah, the creativity on this slate is going to be pretty open for any style of play you like. I think studs and scrubs generally ends up being one of the more obtainable processes here, but there's still some 6K guys that I think are going to profile extremely well. At the end of the PrizePicks stream, I was talking about how Anthony Simons is an incredible usage spot, and it's not like he is 3K. It's not like he's 9K, right? So he's right there in the middle, where I think he's inefficiently priced for the opportunity before him. Of course, that's assuming Anthony Simons is still on the Blazers in 4 hours, right? What up, Jim? Hi, Gunner Ball as well. And you don't have a headache on this slate, man. It is what it is, man. Slates like this, man. This is what we trained for. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. Scott says, gotta love that Bucks Lakers potential point fest. Yeah, big implied total on that one, and a lot of stars in that one. So hopefully it turns into entertaining television for our sake, right? What up, Jay Smooth? What up, Trickaroo? What up, Darnell? Okay, all the years. What up, Jesse? Rough past 5 days, looking to break slump. All right, Jesse, let's go. Hey, man, that hitting slump. Just keep swinging, keep taking. We're waiting for your pitch. Tonight could be your pitch. What up, Kiefer? Hayward killed me, man. Hayward was so cheap, right? Like if he's 6-7K, we're not really even on him, but he was just so cheap on a 5-game slate. He just kind of got almost coagulated in ownership just because of the 5K price point, right? I am close to someone at the Houston Chronicle that also freelances for ESPN. I have it on high authority that Christian Wood is headed to Miami. She's never wrong about Houston. Christian Wood to Miami? That's interesting. I'm gonna keep an eye on that. That's interesting. What up, Sean? What up, Mike? Bing bong. Why is Bing bong? Simons is in play now that usage hog Tony Snell is gone, man. Tony Snell finally freeing up some opportunity for Anthony Simons to score some real points, right? Here, what up, Renza? Woo! All right, guys, we have a lot to dive into. So if you guys missed it, there was a couple trades already today. If you're just like getting off work or something like that, the notable ones: Indiana Pacers and the Sacramento Kings. They made a deal that sent Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, and Justin Holiday to Sacramento in exchange for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. Weird trade for both teams, but especially the Kings. I thought if they were going to be in the trade market, it would likely involve Fox and not Halliburton, but that's not how it went down. So we're good on the Kings, I guess, but not really. Brooklyn Nets are going to sit James Harden. There's some interesting quotes surrounding him sitting out. One of them was that it was like intentional holding him out. I don't know if it's as injury related as maybe we thought initially. He has certainly been part of a lot of trade rumors, a lot linking him to like Philly and a Ben Simmons scenario. So we'll see if he doesn't play until before the trade deadline. If they try to shop him around, and that game's already devoid of any stars, right? No KD, no Kyrie, no James Harden. The Celtics coming into this game playing some extremely lockdown defense and putting together a good run. The Pelicans, part of a trade themselves, they went out and got CJ McCollum, Larry Nance, and Tony Snell in exchange for Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Tomas Satoransky, and Luzada. So big trade there. Right? Multiple people. Pelicans could have a playoff lineup that could be Devontae Graham, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Jonas Valanciunas. Right now, they're in the play-in spot. So, they have something to play for, I guess, going forward. We'll see if Zion actually makes a return this season. And then I guess that's it in terms of stuff that has been announced. There's a couple spots that I'm a little bit scared of. Like if the Lakers were to get blown out the gym tonight with the deadline being on Thursday, who knows what they might do, right? What did it say? Lead GM? Might be that. What up, Justin? What up, Smelzer? Yo, anybody say F Gordon Hayward yet? Man, let it out, chat. If you got some Gordon Hayward stuff to get to just toxicity, the toxins in your DFS body, flush them out. That's what the shoot around's for, man. Get all that bad juju out of there, and then we'll jump into the breakdown and reset, right? But yes, Hayward's injury was extremely unfortunate for DFS last night, man. And it is what it is. It's gonna happen, but it seems like with Hayward, it's happening a little bit more often than you would like. He's just been attached to a lot of reasons to keep him out, right? Arizona Drop says, I'm close to someone from the Chronicles of Miami Heat, and we are in works to trade. You're saving PJ Tucker, Max Drees for Christian Wood. Drama, are you trolling? Because that's interesting. Because that's consistent with what Diane just said, right? What up, Matt? What up, Scott? Hayward never hits his chalk. Yeah, man. It's not even like I thought Hayward was a smash play. It's just we didn't have a ton of value yesterday. I had a lot of Diakete before when Slate locked, and then when he didn't end up in the starting lineup, I ended up swapping half of that into Jay Crowder, DVP. So that kind of worked out, but a lot of the top dogs I was very underweight on, and I loaded up on Raptors, and Siakam was fine, but like Van Vliet was underwhelming, and really everyone else in that game was kind of underwhelming. Really on the other side, Terry Rozier had a couple points at half, and he had a big second half to salvage, but that game didn't come through the way I was hoping to, right? Pivoted awful chalk Hayward to Oubre, but then Oubre was huge chalk too. Yeah, Oubre was pretty cheap on both sides, all things considered, and it was just it was an ugly short slate. This is not a short slate. Ugly, hey, that's subjective. It's up to you guys to decide, but there's plenty of opportunities to play guys that you maybe don't have to feel as uncomfortable with pre-flop. So we're going to chop it all up before we do that. Let you guys know that everything we reference today in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet is all something you guys can get access to behind the paywall at RunDFS.com. RunDFS.com, click VIP memberships, find something that's right for you. Every one of the memberships is associated with a voucher you can use instantly towards a Fantasy Crusher subscription, so it can be a good companion piece to your optimizer, ventures tonight, manager lineups with Fantasy Cruncher. And if you have questions about Cruncher, it is what I use, so I can kind of steer you in the right direction. Then, of course, once you do upgrade, click VIP portal, get into the spreadsheet, but most importantly, get into the RunDFS.com VIP Discord every day before lock for about 2 hours, a little bit longer. I'm in the pre-lock voice chat, NBA chat. You see that little speaker icon? Click on that. We'll be grinding down to lock today. And these bigger slates, I think the community is more valuable to lean on each other, keeping heads on our swivels, keeping a head on a swivel, processing news and digesting news, and then just talking general strategy. And I think tonight is definitely going to be a slate where we can get creative and we can play very strategically, right? Carlos, what up, Carlos? I would have had the best fantasy night of my miserable life if Hayward had played a full game. I had 50% of my lineups with him easily cashed. Ooh, you hate to see that. Sounds like trolling, but a couple unprotected first rounders connected to that would get you your saving beast called Miami. That's interesting, Cheyenne. I don't think that's like I don't think it's a bad move. I don't think it's a illogical move. Definitely think the Heat are already a scary team, and a team that's been a top team in the East with injuries all year. If you can add a young talented piece to that core of veteran leadership, and just get out of that mess in Houston, I don't think it's a bad move for Christian Wood. I'm sure if PJ Tucker was associated to that, it wouldn't be something he likes, but what are you gonna do, right? Last year they had PJ Tucker playing center for the Rockets not too long ago. What up, Neo? So glad I faded. I wish I faded Hayward. I was underweight on Hayward. I had like 28%, but I was 28% of dead and stinking lineups, right? What are you gonna do? Oubre was 40% owned coming off the bench. He didn't not make sense, right? He's going to be leading the bench in shot attempts. It's like he's going to play 30 minutes. The Raptors game script playing from behind, and they do restrict points in the paint. So like the process, like you could justify it easily with stats, but yeah, anytime a bench scoring dependent bench guy is chalk off the bench, you certainly can justify going the other way. He got there and he didn't even have like a great shooting night. It was actually abysmal. Did he even like hit more than 1 3? Like he was just, and he was a good play, but he could have been a much better play if he was more efficient. I had him a little lower owned on my Fanduel stuff, but he wasn't 40% of my stuff. I'll say that. I don't think he was low owned, but I don't remember the specific ownership, but he wasn't that high owned, right? Anyway, let's go open up Underdog here before we start doing some research. What do you think about Cam Thomas today? Been balling? It's a tough matchup for everyone on the Nets, but the uptick in usage and implied minutes is certainly there for him if you want to attack him. And I think all the prices are going to be attackable. Key news to watch via fan and Underdog_NBA. LeBron James probable, Anthony Davis probable, De'Aaron Fox questionable. At the end of the PrizePicks stream, my boy Josh Gilham in the chat said that Fox was a full participant in practice, so hopefully he can go. Cade Cunningham questionable, Malcolm Brogdon questionable, D'Angelo Russell questionable, Patrick Beverly questionable, and Marvin Bagley questionable, on top of the trades that already happened. So we can jump into it and get the research going, refresh the NBC Sports Edge depth chart, and we'll let her rip, man. Here, what up, Nate? So with this Portland news, we targeted Simons tonight. I will definitely be targeting Simons tonight, for sure. I think that game is very stackable. Phoenix Suns at the Philadelphia 76ers. First game on the docket. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, McCall Bridges, Jay Crowder, and DeAndre Ayton taking on Tyrese Maxey. Seth Curry, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's a good segue into one of our presenting sponsors, PrizePicks. Every Tuesday, they drop some discounted props. You guys know how PrizePicks works. You bet the over, the under on a line that they set. Could be points, rebounds, assists, PRA, free throws, three-pointers made, stuff like that. Well, one of their taco discounts today, Taco Tuesday, is going to be on Joel Embiid PRA. And I believe I was told that that's live now. It is. So they initially had him at 45.5 PRA. You're going to get a 5-point discount and be able to attack this 40.5 PRA. And definitely like attacking not only Joel Embiid, but the Suns in games that are projected to play close. This is just a 1-point spread. So if you guys had intentions to make some PrizePicks cards today, check out Joel Embiid's PRA at 40.5. That's going to be up there for a little bit longer. They just posted it, so another 3.5 hours. I think you can get up to $25 of action onto that. Should be a pretty easy hit if you expect this game to stay close and you expect Embiid to be out there for the bulk of it, right? Sign up using promo code GUNDACKER. They're going to match your first deposit up to $100. No slow drip, none of that nonsense. Get in there, make some money, and check out the daily PrizePicks streams. Well, from a DFS perspective, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, all on night 2 of a back-to-back. Keeping an eye on the status of Cameron Payne. Cameron Payne has missed a really big stretch of games for them. In his absence in competitive games, we have seen extremely deep minutes for Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Cameron Payne is listed as out. He will not play on Tuesday against the Sixers with a right wrist. So I'm immediately somewhat interested in Chris Paul. I think on the grand scheme of a big slate, though, you guys hear me say it all the time, the bigger the slate, the more I got to sell out for ceiling. Chris Paul does have a ceiling worth selling out for, but we need this game to play somewhat competitively. Could we get 50, 60 out of him? I think so. I think the price a little bit on the high end, though, to feel super comfortable. But if he's going to play nearly 40 minutes, I'm definitely interested in large field tournaments. Devin Booker, Fanduel price point feels a little bit better than his DK price point. 8,500, north side of 40 fantasy points gets me there. Right now, I got him about 47, 45 fantasy points respectively. And then DeAndre Ayton on a back-to-back with JaVale McGee and Biyombo in the mix in that front court going against Biyombo. I probably don't have a lot of Ayton interest today. I think the bulk of my interest in terms of personal exposure is going to be Chris Paul, Devin Booker. You could sell me on a little bit of McCall Bridges, maybe more so for PrizePicks. His PRA was like low 20s. That's something that he's been clearing because of his heightened minutes, likely to play up to 40 minutes in regulation should the game stay super competitive. The Sixers, Joel Embiid easily leads my interest in this game as a player. I got him at about 60 fantasy points on FanDuel. I think it's a big matchup to squeeze all the juice out of him in a competitive game. Maxey, Seth Curry, Tobias Harris, all these guys feel like supplementary, secondary, tertiary plays, however you want to cut it. Never really going to have some core interest for me just because of their built-in volatility, and they are all priced pretty appropriately. So Joel Embiid easily going to lead the pack for me in terms of my personal exposure to this game and the 76ers, but I do like Chris Paul, Devin Booker to hinge some potential correlated run back. Embiid, if we look at the player projections tab in the rundfs.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, from this far out, I have Embiid as a top 3 fantasy scorer with Jokic and Doncic in the conversation as well. Doncic, of course, right now in a double-digit spread. This one a little bit closer, so something to keep an eye on. The Suns have shown a propensity to trap mega usage opponents in the past. A lot of that are opposing guards like Steph Curry. We'll see if they have something schemed up for Joel Embiid here. If they do, maybe it'll slow him down just a little bit. But Embiid does so much of everything that I'm not too concerned here. Tier 1, no. Tier 2, maybe. High tier 3 for sure at this price point. I'm gonna get Embiid involved into my ownership equity tonight for sure. Let's get caught up on chat before we move on to the next one. Simons will be 55% plus owned, but in 20 lines, so FanDuel can barely get off him. He just makes a lot of sense. Sometimes good chalk is good chalk. I haven't put my ear to the ground on ownership projections yet. But I guess that makes plenty of sense for Simons and his big usage rate without McCollum and without Norman Powell, right? What up, Obi? I can't confidently play Cam or Patty. It's not like difficult to get anyone but James. Yeah, I'm not running to jam the Nets in here against the Celtics. Celtics have really been standing on throats here, but maybe we can find somebody. Hayward pulled in his Isaiah Jackson. Obi, it happens, man. I try to be a human when that stuff happens. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to get mad from a gambler standpoint, but I'll let other people be the type to be like, oh, you cost me, blah, 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 man. Human being got injured. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What up, Jermaine? Booker was hurt, right? Devin Booker last night? Maybe. I don't have any tags on him that would put him as questionable if that's what you're leaning to. Last night, he went ballistic in that first half. 14 for 23 overall, 38 real points, crushing it. We know when Chris Paul, Ayton, and Booker are on the court together, it's Paul assist percentage, it's Booker's real points, and then Ayton does a little bit of everything, and he'll usually lead the trio in fantasy points per minute. Speaking of Chris Paul, man, if you take this game and this 1 point spread stays what it is, I thought Chris Paul had an attackable line at the assists, right? 10.5. I feel like in a competitive game without Cameron Payne, if you're going to push nearly 40 minutes of Chris Paul in this spot, I definitely like that. I'm a little bit trepidatious of the back-to-back, and this is getting to be a grind portion of this road trip for the Suns, right? There's the third game in 4 nights, so all on the road. Maybe it starts catching up with a guy like Chris Paul, and maybe that explains why the Suns are road dogs here. But I still think in close competitive games, I like to get the most out of Chris Paul's assist rate. Let's get caught up. What do you like on Luka, PRA, assists, or points? I like Luka's assists, Dylan. I think that's a great question. Luka was priced at 9.5 assists, and we ran the assist prop earlier, and it's got like a 40-50% assist rate. And I think in the absence of Porzingis, even though the spread is double digit, if they live up to that spread and put away the Pistons, remember they were in a similar game against the Thunder not too long ago. I think the assists are the most attackable line for me on Doncic. 9.5. I'm probably expecting another triple double, to be honest, but I think 9.5 is low enough that if I had to grade my favorite Luka lines, I think assists is probably up there, right? Arizona says, I'm a Suns fan. I'm gonna just say Embiid owns Ayton. Embiid crushes against Phoenix every time he plays this. I will not be shy on Embiid ownership tonight. Smelter says Indy, Brooklyn, Portland all have value options tonight. They do. And in Smelter, I would say in that scenario where there are several good teams for value, where you can tighten up rotations and plant big minutes on them. We bet on talent that we're familiar with, and 2, bet on the matchup. Celtics have not been the matchup that you want to target, and then the Orlando Magic have been like a bottom 5, bottom 6 defense all year. So we know what Simons can do. So I'm going to trust the Portland side a little bit more. Indiana, sure, if it starts to tighten up and we get definitive news and we can plant some decent minutes on X, Y, and Z. But from this far out, I'm thinking Portland's going to be the team I lean on more for value than any other team. But I also think the field is smart enough to mirror that approach. Quinn says Mitchell Robinson, Nerlens Noel, and Quentin Grimes are all out for the Knicks. Taj Gibson revenge? No, I thought they were against OKC. Taj Gibson starting? Julius Randle in the mix? I don't know, man. I don't know. Gordon is human after all. Yeah. I don't know. I think I know it's frustrating when an injury costs people money, but I still try to be a human being about this, right? It's a I guess a privilege, I would say, to bet. And injuries are injuries. So I personally don't vibe out with attacking people on Twitter because I lost a 30-leg parlay because they rolled their ankle in the second. You know what I mean? Like, there's some bad side of humanity on social media when a guy, first of all, when a player just doesn't play well, but secondly, when they get injured, it's just like, come on, man, be real. Embiid, 38 points, 4 assists, 17 rebounds against the Suns last time he played. Yeah, Embiid is a monster. He should definitely vibe out here. The Knicks must have just made a trade with all them out. You think so? I think there was a lot of steam on Julius Randle. I mean, also keep in mind that back to back Utah to Denver, man. That's one of the toughest ones in the business. So it is what it is. But definitely represents a lot of front court opportunity there to be made up for. Also lessens the path of resistance to Nikola Jokic. What about Giannis? I don't mind Giannis at all. What are some good Hawks picks? All right, let me matriculate on to the next game, and Hawks are next game. So Terry Taylor 6 for 5 rebounds, better than my entire Wizards team. Indiana Pacers at the Hawks. Project 35 for the Pacers. Maybe Malcolm Brogdon, Chris Duarte, O'Shea Brissett, Torrey Craig, Goga Batadze taking on Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and Clint Capella. Yo, Clinton Wright, appreciate that follow. 227.5 total, 10.5 point spread in favor of the Atlanta Hawks. Pacers, as we said earlier, traded away Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday. So some core minutes there, especially Sabonis and Holiday. And they're also without Miles Turner today. TJ McConnell still out. Of course, Warren hasn't played yet. Taylor, Isaiah Jackson, and Malcolm Brogdon all have Q tags on them. We can kind of try and get an update here. We'll see if there's going to be any trades. Brogdon will not be eligible to be traded, I believe, since they just got him. I think they have to wait till the end of the season to be eligible to move him. So you don't have to worry about that going forward. But he's dealing with an Achilles. Isaiah Jackson's dealing with an ankle. And Terry Taylor is ill. Brogdon's been out since the 19th. Yep. So I think ultimately I don't have high aspirations to target Brogdon if he did play, because we'd probably be at best worried about his minutes and at worst just worried about what the heck Indiana is going to do. I think what we are all hungry to capitalize on is what happens to the Sabonis minutes. Is Goga, is Brissett, and is Terry Taylor going to step up and get some run here? All viable. If they're all healthy, I don't have warm and fuzzies on any of them individually. If Brogdon is going to be out, Chris Duarte might take 15, 20 shots. You might see Kiefer Sykes get involved, and he's really cheap on both sides, 3,500, 3,900. I think he would profile the best points per dollar on the team with a little bit more stability in his minute expectation. Ultimately, we expect the Pacers to kind of get routed here by the Hawks. The Hawks already 10.5 point favorites. As a matter of fact, that was earlier today. Let's see if this line has moved at all. Creaky door is creaky. That was also creepy, I'll say. Let's see if there's going to be movement on the Hawks game. So Hawks is at 12.5 in some spots. So yeah, some more steam on Hawks putting away the Pacers here, which kind of makes you down on the Hawks. One thing I want to say about the Hawks to keep an eye on, we've highlighted this the last couple of outings for the Hawks, is what they've been doing with Clint Capella. Clint Capella has not been playing fourth quarters consistently, and I've suspected it's because of his ineptitude when it comes to shooting free throws. He's just too much of a liability. And he's also just not a guy that can make his own shot and really is just a dunker, right? So what you see from Clint Capella is the bulk of his run comes in the first half. He'll start the third quarter, and then they opt to go with Okongwu in the fourth quarter. And this has been a trend in several games. And I think the common denominator is these games are competitive games, right? Hey. Yo, Pat, appreciate that sub. Welcome to the channel, buddy. And this is, it's gone back several games now where Clint Capella just isn't part of the fourth quarter plan. They lean on Okongwu, or they stretch out John Collins to the 5 a little bit more over and over and over. If you got this game blowing out, it's even more concerned about Capella's minutes here. But the reason I mention that, I want you guys to make a mental note of that, is sometimes you can get decent lines on Capella's first half props for PrizePicks, because I don't know how many people have caught up on this trend being specifically for the fourth quarter. Capella has a first half prop of 13 fantasy points. He might be up against Terry Taylor's 6'5" self, right? Nikola Vucevic just dropped 70 there. So maybe first half action on Capella on PrizePicks might be the way to go. Last couple first halves, he's cleared that and all but that game against Toronto. A much scrappier defense here. So I don't mind that. So something to keep in mind. I don't know if Josh is out there. Maybe we'll jot that down for our prop detector as well. And for DFS, like I said, I think the common denominator of Capella not being in the game in the fourth quarter is also the fact the games are just not competitive. So if you got this game super blowing out, then yeah, I wouldn't expect much for the starters. But one of these days, $5,500 Clint Capella is going to be a problem. And if it's a game where the Hawks are protecting a lead, a sizable lead, but not too insurmountable, maybe Capella's 5,500 price tag becomes a problem. I probably don't play him, but I don't know. At least keep him in mind for some of those first half props for PrizePicks, right? Torrey Craig over PRA. I'm probably not betting Torrey Craig props here, but sure. Like, I mean, this Pacers team is wide open, right? Is Capella dealing with an injury? I don't think he is. I just think they don't trust him in the fourth quarter. It's kind of like Hassan Whiteside back in the day for the Heat, right? He would get his run, and then Spoelstra would not lean on him in the fourth. Arizona says, people mad about Hayward injury. Man, I'm still ticked that Cole Anthony cost me 8K parlay, dropping 9 what I needed. That stuff does sting, right? I'm just saying. I don't ever take that out on the player, right? They're human beings, whatever. That just won't be me. Josh says that will be an detector in the first half. There we go. Prop detector. And in Capella first half. Let's move on to the next game. Kiefer Sykes, by the way, I think if we get Brogdon out, Kiefer Sykes might pop his extreme value. And then Lance Stevenson's $1,300 cheaper on DraftKings versus his Fanduel price point, $3,200. That's a really low price point up against Atlanta. Did he play for Atlanta this year? I feel like he had that 10-day with Atlanta. Maybe let them know what they missed out on, all right? Let's go home. Jam. Let's go home. Let's go home. Bing bong. Yo, Jim, I appreciate that, man. Welcome. I appreciate that dono. Sorry, so many alerts on the phone today. I had to make sure it wasn't more trades, man. Any interest in Davion Mitchell and DFS or PrizePicks? Yeah, absolutely. Especially if Fox doesn't play yet. But Davion Mitchell without Halliburton, without Buddy Hield, and I think we still have Terrence Davis out, right? For Sacramento. Yeah. Mitchell might get 35 plus minutes. So it absolutely would be some interest. Yeah. We'll go super in depth on that in just a bit. Celtics at the Nets. Next game on the docket. Projects 25 for the Celtics. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Robert Williams, the Time Lord, taking on Patty Mills, DeAndre Bembry, maybe Kessler Edwards, James Johnson, and Blake Griffin. LaMarcus Aldridge, Nick Claxton, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Joe Harris, Kyrie Irving, and Paul Millsap all listed as out for the Nets today. Up against the Boston Celtics, and in the last month, I think Boston has done something like lose one game and have the clamps on, right? So let's see. Boston Celtics, Eclectics, what the freak? Let's look at a couple of stats here. One, Celtics defensive rating. Let's go last 10 games for the Celtics. They have a defensive rating of 100. That's insane. 100 would easily be number one in the league, right? You expect regression on that number, but it makes sense. They have scrappers, Tatum, Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, Al Horford, guys like that. So they are playing a league best defense in limited sample size, but trends are trends. And then they're facing a Nets team that is really closer to a G League journeyman team than anything else. Do we have any movement on that line for Brooklyn? Still at 8.5. I'm actually a little bit surprised that 8.5 is all it is. This Nets team feels like they might be hopeless in this spot. But 213 total, so we get a meager total. We're not expecting this to be a track meet by any stretch of the imagination. You might expect the Celtics to have their phone ringing. I've heard a lot of rumors and murmurs about Josh Richardson being attached to some potential trades. And then, of course, we talked about James Harden, some reports that he's being held out from this game. And we know what that could mean. Harden is such a big contract that maybe he doesn't go alone. And we know, like, Paul Millsap wanted out as well. So keep an eye on the Nets news. I don't know that would develop in time today. or if it did, it's 30 minutes after main slate lock. But what do you guys think about this Nets team as is? There are some cheap opportunities here. Patty Mills is probably the guy we expect to take the most shots. But he also, is there, aging veteran on this team? Would he be around for long if this game got too lopsided? The Celtics really don't have a specific matchup that I want to pick on. And I think if we're attacking the Nets here, we're really just hoping that the price point is too low for the minutes and the opportunity before them. But no warm and fuzzies for me in terms of solid projections. I'm getting an okay number on Blake Griffin. If you guys want to trust Blake Griffin in 2022, getting about 30 fantasy points on the 30-minute projection, 4,600, that would be fine. A couple of you guys have already mentioned Cam Thomas at 32 minutes is what I planted on him, getting about 30 fantasy points. So, definitely wouldn't talk you off of that if that was something you're in wanted to invest in a sub 5K. Last couple games for him, double-digit shot attempts, 20, 30 real points. Scoring dependent against the Celtics is very scary. And then the minutes should just continue to be there for Bembry, Edwards, James Johnson. But no one on this Nets team specifically has an exploitable matchup. We're just hoping that they pay off their price point because of the opportunity before them, because of how many people are out today. So do you guys, Chad, do you guys have personal favorites from the Nets today to pick on the Celtics? And are you playing any Celtics today? Sub 10K Jason Tatum certainly has 50 plus fantasy point potential against this Nets incarnation. Robert Williams has, the ability to drop 40 fantasy points here. I got him for mid-30s. Al Horford's kind of eating into his rebounds lately. That's been very annoying. And then Jaylen Brown, 8,200 on Fanduel. I think that's a little cheap for his individual upside. 40 plus fantasy points could be there, but I don't know. I'm kind of disagreeing with this spread. If Boston's going to play at the level that they've been playing, they should likely be double-digit point favorites, in my opinion. Unless somebody was going to be out. If you're going to be full strength at the level they've been playing against this incarnation of the Brooklyn Nets lineup, I feel like this should be one of the largest spreads on the slate against nobody, and nobody, right? I don't know. What are you guys thinking? What up, Plan B? What do you think about the Harkless and his numbers recently? Now you might get more usage. It's fake, right? Harkless, Tony Snell, man, it's hard to play those guys, but Harkless has been pretty solid lately. It's Bernard. What up, Bernard? Watching at the barbershop and got some subscribers coming your way. Man, I appreciate that. Shout out to the shop. We got a couple barbershops that put us in the spin, man. I appreciate that. Hope you guys are getting those edges on point, you know what I mean? And hope you are taking care of the barber, man. Hook him up. Malcolm, appreciate that sub. Cam Thomas blowout proof. I mean, you would think that the Nets are largely blowout proof. Sans maybe Patty Mills and Blake Griffin, right? Is there anyone that you would protect? I mean, we've seen earlier this year David Duke get really big run. Javon Carter. I don't know. I think Blake Griffin, Patty Mills would be the two that I'd be most trepidatious about if I was full game scripting a blowout. I guess James Johnson is an elder statesman here as well. But for the most part, I mean, you can only protect so many people in this rotate. They might have 9-10 active, right? You like Bembry? I heard Harden's going to Philly for Simmons. Allen, that's probably the most popular one. And from what I think that makes the most sense for both teams. But I've also heard conflicting reports where, Nets are not shopping Harden. So I don't know. Definitely feels like they should, though. There's some contract stipulations for Harden where sign and trade would be the best outcome for the Nets because of their salary cap structure or whatever. But it feels like Ben Simmons would be a better fit for the Nets team and let Kyrie and KD carry the offense, and then James Harden as a scoring guard to complement Joel Embiid would be pretty scary. So I actually think that would be a good fit for both teams for what's on the table, right? Grant Williams firing him up. The Celtics gonna blow out the Nets. It's too big of a slate to bank on Grant Williams, right? Off the bench. I feel like I don't know. You put some makeup on. Who you getting cute for, man? Right? I don't know. Galaxy brain in that one. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Grant Williams is the lock. I don't know. Johnson plays mean. I like him far more than anyone else on Brooklyn. Yeah, per minute, James Johnson certainly has an ability to get to 30 fantasy points. He's pretty cheap on both sides. He does play mean, and so does Marcus Smart, and that could be combustible elements. But I'm telling you, man, it's hard to love anything on this Nets team. Bless you, yo, Deidris. Appreciate that sub, man. Welcome to the channel. What up, Conscious? First day, didn't know you were on solo. That's all right. Sometimes a lot of the streams we do solo. I honestly prefer to do the bigger slates by myself, just because I can pace it better and get you guys out of here in time, and then cover stuff. And from chopping up with Raj. Raj usually just repeats everything I say in so many words. Guess it's a wait and see kind of thing. Yeah, I played Jalen Carter before I played Javon Carter. Come on. Williams for the lock. You like that? I don't mind it. Yeah, I think that the Nets are either where I get different from the field, or the Nets are where I get way wrong. Because I feel like if I can help it, I'm not gonna jam in anything here. Remember, I'm selling out for ceiling, so I'm not gonna be as excited for 22 fantasy points from some of these 3-4K guys. I really want them to bust out and go 10x on their price point. And I don't like the matchup. I don't like their offensive potential here, but I do like the offensive potential in the Rockets and the Pelicans. Rockets project starting 5: Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Jayshawn Tate, Alperen Sengun, maybe Christian Wood taking on Devontae Graham, Brandon Ingram, Herbert Jones, Jackson Hayes, and Jonas Valanciunas. We got a 225.5 total, 9.5 point spread. Favor of the home team, New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans are listing Willie Hernan-Gomez is out. Of course, they traded away Josh Hart, NAW, Satoransky, Luzada, and obviously Nance Snell and all those guys will not play today. So we get a tightened expectation in terms of minute rotation, and that's really, really nice. Going against a team like the Rockets. Rockets have been one of our favorite matchups to pick on. They represent the worst defensive efficiency in all of basketball this season, while also boasting the fastest pace rating. So extra implied possessions for the Pelicans here, and of course all of the points their heart can handle, and now perhaps all the minutes they can handle. I think on FanDuel, 7,800 for Brandon Ingram. That's looking like my highest owned player on FanDuel. Anyone else in this Ingram boat just seems way too cheap. And I still think he's playable on DraftKings as well. But this is definitely a stark contrast in price between the sites. And Ingram and his skill set lately certainly could pop for an even bigger game today than a typical game. Of course, he just dropped 63 fantasy points against the Rockets in his last outing. But check out the steals as of late. 3 steals, 1 block, 2 blocks, 1 steal. We mentioned this on the PrizePicks show earlier today, and I mentioned it usually every time the Rockets are on a slate. The Rockets allow the most steals per game in all of basketball, and it's by a wide margin, over a steal per game, higher than the Cavaliers right now. And then they're also up there in blocks per game allowed, top 3. So defensive peripherals are looking pretty nice for Ingram, who on the season is averaging over a stock per game, but lately has shown a higher propensity to pick some pockets here. So I do like Ingram's overall propensity to be a great fantasy play as is, but on FanDuel at a reduced price where you're going to get extra implied value on stocks. I think Ingram is looking really, really good. This front court for the New Orleans Pelicans, we've seen Jackson Hayes play alongside Jonas Valanciunas. Does that impede Valanciunas' peripherals and whatnot? Maybe, but there's still a lot of minutes to be expected behind J-Val today. 27 against Houston last game. He fouled out in those 27 minutes. Expect him to not foul out here, although Christian Wood, if he doesn't get moved by the time that game locks, is a high usage big. Maybe J-Val stays in trouble. He's been in foul trouble his last 2 games. But if he doesn't if he doesn't get in foul trouble, 32, 33, 34 minutes, it's not a crazy expectation without Hernan-Gomez. So what did we see from that game in that last outing to maybe run back some minute expectations? So on the Pelican side, they did start Josh Hart. He represents 35 minutes that are not there today. NAW represents 18 minutes, not there today. And then really not losing any sleep over anyone else. Herbert Jones, maybe? Herbert Jones looks like he got in some early foul trouble, picked up 2 quick fouls. So if he could stay out there a little bit longer, he still stayed out there for 30 minutes. But I mean, really, anyone is in play against the Houston Rockets, right? And just kind of correlate it based on skill set. Herbert Jones, 31 minutes, just a steal, assist. Didn't take too many shot attempts here. Maybe Herbert Jones at 5K is a little uncomfortable, but I think 30 fantasy points is a range of outcome for him. And then shot volume on Devontae Graham, anybody? I'm getting about a 30 fantasy point projection. That's about what I need at 5K. So nothing to drive home. I'd probably put him as a tier 3. But I think Ingram is easily number 1 for me here. I think I'm going to trust JVL on Fanduel at 7,200. So maybe not getting foul trouble. And you tell me I can get Ingram and JVal for 16K combined on this slate? Yeah, I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. And then Jackson Hayes in life without Hernan Gomez tonight. Last couple of outings, 28, 33, 26, 31 minutes. Has shown you a chip in a chair for 30-plus fantasy points, 20-plus real points. This is a massive matchup for bigs, massive matchup for everybody. But on the season, centers and power forwards have been terrorizing the Houston Rockets. They allow the most fantasy points per game to opposing power forwards and to opposing centers. So I don't hate having Hayes in the mix as well. Love his forward eligibility. Give me all the Pelicans here. Off of the bench, Alvarado is a guy that's known almost exclusively for his steals per game lately. He reminds me of vintage TJ McConnell. He's 3,700. I probably don't push the issue here, but you can make a case that without NAW, maybe he could see upwards of 20 minutes. And, we've seen some big steal games from him, but I don't think he's anything but an extreme tier 3, tier 4 dart throw if you were running 150. Nothing short end for me. And then who are we running it back with? Well, $5,600 Kevin Porter Jr. without Eric Gordon does seem like a solid option here. He played 35 minutes in that last outing, took just 10 shot attempts, but expect him to grow off of that, and the assist rate has been there as well. So if he can double in this spot, I don't think that's a crazy expectation. And I think there are a few more peripherals to go around between everyone without Josh Hart. Hart's a guy that can soak up 8 to 12, 13 rebounds and a couple peripherals. So should be mutually beneficial to both sides here. So I do like KPJ. It's 5,600. I'm getting over a 30 fantasy point projection on that. And then Christian Wood, 82 to 85. A couple of you guys in chat have suggested he may not be a Houston Rocket much longer. We'll see if that if that evolves. If it does, then maybe Şengün has a real shot at being unleashed tonight, because Daniel Tice is out, and Şengün certainly somebody that per minute can be a problem. In that last game, Şengün started, played 25 minutes, and then 25 minutes of Şengün gave you point per minute results. 6 shot attempts, 5 of them from behind the arc. So 4,500 still too cheap here against this just for this opportunity before him. So I'm fine with getting to Şengün here. This is probably my favorite game stack on the slate. Maybe Magic and Blazers kind of push the envelope as we start diving into that one. I'm very sold on the Pelicans here. Obviously, Jalen Green, KPJ, Jason Taylor, all those guys can one have a spike game, or they all just have a median outcome where 28 to 35 fantasy points and nothing matters. But fun stuff to be had in this game, right? Jordan says fade Raj and his terrible Ja Rule over Tupac take. Oh, poor Raj. Yeah. I appreciate that, Conscious. Fade Raj. Yeah. Gun is the money line and Lakers game on the slate. Gun is the Milwaukee and Lakers game on the slate. Yeah, that's later tonight. What up, guy at Places? Y'all got any advice on what doing today's captain mode for the Bucks game? I haven't looked at the showdown pricing, but that sounds like a nightmare for showdown with as many stud. Usually showdown games, I prefer like a lot of good support role players, right? Cheaper guys. I don't like choosing between massive studs, right? LeBron, Giannis, AD. I guess you would just have to rank those guys to who you think scores the most, right? And it's probably going to be Giannis 1, AD, LeBron 2 and 3, and then go from there. But yeah, that sounds like a nightmare to predict. You'd probably ended up with Pat Connaughton or DiVincenzo, maybe some Grayson Allen in your life. I think Grayson Allen's questionable, so maybe it would be a boost for like Connaughton. We'll see. If Wood does end up leaving, doesn't that make Şengün a smash? Yes, it does. Assuming that he can go. And then you also probably see Kenyon Martin perhaps have Straw start at the 4 if they don't move Tate back to the 4, because they could run Tate at the 4 and Garrison Matthews at like the 3. We've seen them do that, but I think Kenyon Martin Jr., KJ Martin would also benefit from that incarnation of a lineup that if Wood was gone, no Daniel Tice, Kenyon Martin would be their next big, right? So yeah, it would help Şengün dramatically though. I want to see him take more 2s, right? Chucking a lot of 3s is whatever, but he's such a beast. We know per minute he can be a monster. 40 fantasy points is not an outlandish result if it happened tonight, especially in this matchup. Arizona says Drew, Kiefer, Simons, Booker, Johnson, Ingram, Portis, Grant, and Embiid. See me at the top. Let's go. I don't have any quarrels with any of those names specifically. What up, Willie Lewis? Did I miss anybody? Neo in the chat. I think I see all you guys. Bless you. Yeah, my old lady sneezed in the other room too. Clippers at the Grizzlies. Next game on the docket. Project starting 5 for the Clippers. Reggie Jackson, Amir Coffey, Marcus Morris, Nick Batum, Ivica Zubac taking on Memphis. Starting 5, Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Zaire Williams, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Stone Cold Steven Adams. It's going to get you one board. What? 226.5 is our total. 8-point spread in favor of the Memphis Grizzlies. Clippers, kind of a new look team that's kind of hard to have stable numbers to predict them going forward. So I kind of expected my approach for this game on a 10-game slate that I hope it just gets lost in the sauce and nothing's truly needed. Norman Powell did make his debut off of the bench, right, for the Clippers the other day and contributed immediately 28 real points against Milwaukee in 24 minutes. So is that pace unsustainable? Perhaps, but we know Norman Powell can be a great scorer. 7K as a potential bench piece seems like a risk that I'm not going to be necessarily wanting to take or needing to take, and against a Memphis defense that I hold in decent regard, I don't think I will take. And I think there's a good chance that I end up full fading the Clippers overall today. And if I get to a little Ja Morant, sure. Without Dillon Brooks, we expect his usage rate to be sky high. But for the most part, I think this might be one of those games where I can't play every game on the slate. I might just have to start Xing stuff out. I think the Clippers have a lot of volatility in their production rates, and until I get some stable numbers, I don't think anyone's at a price point, right? It's not like 5K Norman Powell. 7+ K Norman Powell is pretty doggone appropriate. So I probably just stay away from the Clippers for me personally and just hope that doesn't kill me in the end, right? Hopefully Reggie Jackson doesn't drop 80. But Ja Morant, let's put Ja Morant on the court. Let's put Jaren Jackson on the court. And let's put Desmond Bane on the court. Let's get a couple numbers to stash away, and hopefully we get some good good takes here. 21% usage for Jaren Jackson, 21% for Desmond Bane, 33% for Ja Morant. Ja Morant also a 33% assist rate, 1.37 DKP per minute, 1.36 Fanduel point per minute. It's another one of those spreads where I could easily see the Memphis putting away LA pretty quickly. Such a good team. And I don't know. Ja Morant is probably it for me. I think Ja Morant has an outcome where he's a top 5 scorer on the slate. I currently have him as number 5, Luka, Jokic, Embiid, Giannis. Then Ja Morant. We might tighten the screws and get more juice out of LeBron going forward. Or if D-Russ is out, maybe Cat jumps up a little bit for me. But I guess because of the propensity of Ja Morant being a top 5 play, couple standard deviation percentages go his way. Guess he's worth having in the pool. Not really pushing much elsewhere here. Maybe a kiss of Desmond Bane, 6,400 on FanDuel, and then Jaren Jackson under 7K on DraftKings is interesting. The Clippers definitely have some rebound rates to be with areas of opportunity to improve upon, and then points in the paint allowed. LA allows the 4th most amount of points in the paint. So maybe Jaren Jackson Jr. is somewhat underpriced on DK if you expect, maybe closer to 40 fantasy points. And that's kind of what the projection says right now. So I think he's appropriately priced on FanDuel. DK might give me a little bit of room on the bone. So some DraftKings shares of Jaren Jackson Jr., some shares of John Moran on both sites, maybe a touch of Desmond Bain in 150 on Fanduel. That's kind of it. I don't think I'm messing with the Clippers side, right? Wayne's World Bridges, big revenge game today, drafted by the Sixers. Mom works for the Sixers, traded to the Suns. Suns of Philly. I do like McCall Bridges PRA on PrizePicks. I don't think I forced the issue on DFS, but I do think his PRA is attackable on PrizePicks, you know. Mo Harkless love. I get it. Love is a strong word, right? You like any Zubac? Probably not for me today. Per minute. Like Zubac, I swear every slate projects well and just like is rarely a great play. And I think today I really don't want I like to keep as little flimsy plays in my player pool as possible, the bigger the slate. And I don't know, I just don't have I have trust issues, and the Memphis has not been a matchup for me worth going after. I guess you could look at his blocks he's averaging a block per game. Memphis is amongst the highest in the league in terms of blocks per game allowed, because John Morant likes to drive to the rack. So maybe there's a couple of blocks there that would beef up Zubac's output here, but I don't know. Unless they make some more moves here, they still have a couple minutes potentially going to Hartenstein, Ibaka. I'm probably full fade in the Clippers unless something happens to narrow down the situation. No Marcus Morris. Nah, I got love for the Grizzlies defense. I'm getting just an okay projection on Marcus Morris at 30, 61, 60. I think maybe on a 4 or 5 game slate, 30 means more at 6K, but on a big slate, I probably want to extrapolate all kinds of sailing here. I got respect for the Grizzlies defense, you know. Austin, what up, Austin? Locking Justice Winslow in my lineups tonight. A lot of minutes implied for the Blazers. I like narratives. Drew was home in LA last game and absolutely cooked the Clippers. Narratives are cool. Narratives are fun. But you could probably make a narrative out of something from every game. So, I don't know. Some narratives I'll pay attention to. Not all. Drew Holiday is a beast. But yeah, a guy like Drew Holiday, if he's going back to LA, probably has a couple fans in the stands, right? Mom in the crowd, something like that. Yeah, you might play a little spunkier, but I wouldn't get too crazy. There's some narratives that are pretty wild. Pistons at the Mavs. Project starting 5 for the Pistons. Corey Joseph, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, Isaiah Stewart taking on Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, Reggie Bullock, Maxi Kleber, and Dwight Powell. 212.5 is our total. And the Mavericks, sizable favorites here, 11.5. So keep an eye on Cade Cunningham. We know Josh Jackson's out, but Cade Cunningham has been questionable. And I think he might be closer to out than in, but don't quote me on that one. Let's see if I can get the official blurb here from NBC Sports Edge. Dwayne Casey said that Cade Cunningham, who's dealing with a right hip pointer, was able to get some shots up at Monday's practice, but he remains day to day, and it's unclear if he'll be available for Tuesday's game against Dallas. We have seen a scenario where Cade Cunningham didn't play, and they started Rodney Magruder, and then they started Ham Diallo. Ham Diallo, I think, is their better option to keep that game close offensively. Maybe spread the court a little bit more with Sadiq Bey, Diallo, Jeremy Grant. 11.5 point spread is pretty sizable, so I wouldn't have short end interest in the Pistons as is. If we did take Cunningham out of the equation, you can make a case for the usage and shot volume boost on Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, and maybe Ham Diallo if he was the announced starter. None of these guys would be warmer fuzzies. None of these guys would be tier 1s, tier 2s for me. I think the bulk of the interest from this game is going to be on the Mavericks side and Luka Doncic. So somebody asked earlier about Luka's numbers on PrizePicks. Early on, I think my favorite Luka line on PrizePicks is probably going to be the 9.5. Excuse me, that's still on first half. It's probably going to be the 9.5 assist line. They have him at 9.5 assists. He's essentially averaging a triple-double right now without Porzingis, and I think the assist has a little bit higher, I don't want to say predictive value, but it's a little less volatile than I guess a ball hitting off the rim here. So if I had to choose one or the other, I'm probably leaning Luka's assist. And just to kind of paint a picture here, I'm gonna use this on-off court tool via Add More Funds ! AMF in the chat. If you guys want to jump on here, it's actually free. They do have a sponsored version, which I use, but the main one is free. We'll take Porzingis off the court. We'll put Hardaway off the court as well, and put Luka on. We got some fat, juicy numbers, thick, if you will, a 50% assist rate. I think that goes down to like 45 if we put Brunson in the mix as well. So we'll do that, to be fair. Luka's at a 48% assist rate in this split with a 39% usage rate. So he's like attached to like over half the points when you consider his real points and his assist rate in this split. And that's just insane. So a 9.5 assists seems awfully low. And I guess if we dumb it down, Luka Doncic, let's go FDP by game log, last 10 games without Kristaps Porzingis. And we want to pay attention to how often he's clearing 9.5 assists, 11, 15, 10, 11, 10. There's a 5 in there against the Knicks, 14, 8 against Golden State, 15. So 2 of his last 10 games, he didn't clear 9.5. So unless you really, truly believe this blowout would hurt, a potential blowout would hurt Luka. Remember, I didn't even want to bank on a blowout. They let the Thunder come in and shock him. 9.5 feels kind of low. So I like the Luka assist line right now. For PrizePicks. For DFS, I still have Luka as a top scorer on the slate. That's where you can kind of weigh the blowout a little bit more, and then you put him in context to the Jokic, the Embiid, the Giannis, guys like that, and you really just need the guy that scores the most raw points. But Luka has a real shot to do that, so Luka's in the player pool, probably high tier 3 because of his price point. But last couple games here without Porzingis, 53 against Atlanta, extreme foul trouble against Atlanta. I mean, he had 5 fouls a few minutes into the third quarter, so kind of expect that to not be the case here against Detroit. Hopefully Kojo doesn't get him into as much foul trouble as like Trae Young did. The Trae Young kind of flopped to get that 5th foul call too. But prior to that, 70s, right? So 70 plus fantasy points is a realistic expectation. He's got to be in the mix. So I'm going to high tier 3 him, potentially low tier 2 him. And that'll be that. Jalen Brunson on Fanduel, over $1,000 cheaper than his DK price point. I'm looking for 30 plus fantasy points. My early projection actually had him at nearly 40 fantasy points, and he was another guy in foul trouble, much like Luka in that Hawks game that hopefully doesn't exist here, so we can push that 30 minutes closer to 39, 40 minutes. And if that's the case, 20 plus real points, being second on the team in shot attempts would likely give us 30 plus fantasy points. So I think that number, that 30 plus fantasy points number, means more at sub 6K than it does at almost 7K. So I'd be more inclined to get to an aggressive amount of Brunson on FanDuel. But DK is not off limits. And then Kleber, looks like Kleber should play this one. Might beef up that front court defense a little bit. And on DK, he's in the mix. Nothing I'm running to. But yeah, I think Brunson and Luka are the bulk of my interest here. Drew 5 steals. Yeah, Cade coming home to Dallas. Let's go. You think Cade plays? He might. If he played, maybe more merit to this game staying competitive. I don't know. What up, Ronald Jones? What up, Jim? Thoughts on Trey? Trey Burke. What up, Izzy? Appreciate that sub. Trey, player. Do you mean Trae Young and you spelled it different? If it's Trae Young, I mean, that's a game that I really don't have staying competitive, so I can list Trae Young as a little bit more expendable than not. Oh, got me something. Let's go. Thank you, my love. Got a little care package. Yo, we're at 282 viewers. Chat, we might have a problem here. 60 likes? Man, I need to do better. Yo, check this out, chat. Awards. We want to be great, right? 7 days ago, 292 viewers was the record and 171 likes. I'm thinking we might set a record at this pace. We got time. So be part of greatness, chat. Hit that thumbs up. Smash it. If we break 171 and if we break 292 viewers, we would set a season record for this year on those numbers. So, be great. Be great. Get it done. But yeah, give me Luka on PrizePicks. If you guys want to attack those Luka numbers with me on PrizePicks, we'll aim for the bushes. Make sure you're signing up using code Gundacker, and they're gonna match your first deposit up to $100. No slow drip, none of that nonsense. Get it right away. And today's a great day to jump in because of the Taco Tuesday discount. So if you're looking for more PrizePicks content, we've been serving it right here on this channel for the hour before this stream started, from 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, up until this stream starts. Myself and Josh have been pretty consistent about chopping up the slate. And then, of course, we list and track our favorite PrizePicks lines in the Discord, in the spreadsheet. So make sure you're getting in on that. And I think these big slates are the better slates for sites like PrizePicks, and it hurts a little bit more for sites like Fanduel and DraftKings because there's so much news, there's so much competition, right? Sharks are out there able to strictly upkeep 150 lineups. Ain't nobody got time for that, right? So get into the prop game, man. Prop game's fun if you guys are already trained to identify the most positive matchups, you know. What up, Gun? What up, Crispy? Too much movement. I'm not seeing enough movement out there. What up, Flex? Let me use my other 5 YouTube profiles. Appreciate that. 200 Gun, we give you the likes. You give us your PrizePicks lock for the night. I'll give you a couple, Willie. We did some earlier, but I do like the Luka assist. I like, obviously, you take advantage of that Embiid Taco Tuesday PRA. The Anthony Simons real points we'll talk about. I'm kind of interested in that. There's several, right? There's several. New York Knicks at the Denver Nuggets. Project starting 5 for the Knicks. Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson up against Monte Morris, Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, and Nikola Jokic. I read Mitchell Robinson. I get it before you guys spam it. He was rolled out after I went live. So no Mitchell Robinson. Sorry. I just read what's there. Who typed the Mitchell Robinson on the teleprompter? All right, so I don't know. I guess we Taj Gibson into the starting lineup. Yikes. Anyway, so Knicks are on night 2 of a back-to-back. One of the toughest back-to-backs in basketball. Denver, Utah, Denver. So I don't have a lot of high hopes and aspirations for their competitive ability tonight. Kemba did rest last night for this game. Knicks could be buyers, could be sellers. It's a 9.5-point spread. It's moved from 6.5 since it opened. I got really no interest to get to Knicks exposure today. Kemba's really cheap on both sites. We did get Quentin Grimes out. I just don't want to do it. I think the only piece I'll probably have from this game is Jokic. If anything else from this game beats me, it beats me. Jokic is a guy that we have projected to be a top scorer on the slate. I got him second right now behind behind Doncic. And the matchup got better, arguably, right? So, plenty of merit behind getting to Jokic as perhaps the highest raw point scorer on the slate, but it also involves the need for the Knicks to keep this game competitive. Because if it did get a little bit lopsided, you might see a little bit more boogie in the mix here. And I don't know. I just don't have a lot of faith, hope, and love for the Knicks. Is this Knicks 3-4, right? I think so. I think they played the Lakers on the 5th. They were off the 6th, played Utah and Denver. Denver on game 3 and 4 nights, that's just atrocious. So I'm just gonna be selective here personally. If it beats me, it beats me, but I'm probably out on the Knicks today, right? Probably. Are you looking to smash props for Brooklyn top 3 out, or how are you going with that? For parlay style props, like, I don't know, maybe Patty Mills, if he was priced at 15 or less, maybe Mills is at 16.5 points. Like, I expect Patty Mills to shoot the most shots here, but the Boston has been such a good defense, like the best defense in the league over the last month, that no matchup really stands out to me. And PrizePicks, let's call it what it is. It's parlay style. So you're already assuming a little extra risk because you need multiple things to go right. I just think the slate's big enough to where I don't need to rely on the unknown, right, for the Nets. But if I had to lean on something, I guess Patty Mills is somebody I expect to lead the team in shot attempts. and we've seen him in a similar split earlier this season. Play a ton of minutes and have some big games. But the Celtics have just been on another level lately that I just don't think I need to tempt fate. I'd rather drink that mushroom tea than roster a Nick. Yeah, I don't think we need to get to the Knicks today. What did I get? What did she get me? Cherry Coke? All right. They must have been out of vanilla Coke. And a payday? Let's go. Paydays are the best. I have a book, Embiid, Giannis lineup with Obi Toppin. Yeah, I guess maybe I'm sleeping on Obi Toppin. Taj Gibson ain't going to play 40 minutes, right? So Obi Toppin's really, really cheap. Should he get a chance for 25 plus minutes? And if Randall does get moved, he is right there in the steamy conversations of potentially wanting out and potentially being a guy that gets moved. So if there was a world where Randall was sat today, if not moved, without Mitchell Robinson, without Nerlens Noel, Taj Gibson can't do it all, right? So I guess Obi Toppin does enter the chat. 27 minutes of Obi Toppin. Oh, here we go. OKC in Toronto, right? 14 or 41. It looks like we are dealing with a little bit of volatility, but the price is really, really low. So low risk for a potentially good opportunity. I can get behind that. I don't mind it, but it's oof. Jenna says, Gunn, can I play J-Val, Hayes, Wood, and Şengün in the same lineup? Or is it too negatively correlated? Thanks, Danny, and you are awesome. Aw. Nah, I think for that game, it's a 2v2. Maybe it's negatively correlated in the sense that you're attacking all the bigs in that game. And if we do get a lineup that has J-Val, Hayes versus Wood and Şengün as the starters, right? What do those guys need to be great plays? Probably need rebounds. So if you're grabbing 4 guys to get those rebounds that are playing a lot of minutes overlap, maybe it is a little too negatively correlated. But individually at their price points, they're easily justifiable. But maybe I want a little bit less overlap. So I don't know. Like for single entry and limited field, it's not bad. But yeah, maybe in big field tournaments, you're not going to be able to squeeze everything out of those 4 based on them all needing. They would all probably need a decent chunk of rebounds. But hey, Josh Hart being off the court could open up some more rebounds for Jackson Hayes, right? Smash the likes. Let's go. Where are we at on the likes? 96, 295 concurrent. Chat, did we just do it? Hold up. Wait a minute. 292 is the record. Is anybody else seeing 290 plus? I think we just broke a record. Now we need to break the like record. We can get to 300. You think that could happen? That would be nuts. Be great. Dak, what's going on with Discord? With Discra? I don't know what that. What up, Keith? I don't like DFS at all with Maxey back. Yeah, Dorian Finney-Smith is definitely expendable on a slate like this. Center power force does have monster rebound games against the Nuggets with Robinson out, like Randall if he's in. I don't mind Randall, but even if you take out Randall's potential trade and unhappiness, third game at 4 nights, Utah to Denver, the Lakers game was an overtime game. Like there's a lot going here. There used to be a thing called a MAW rating that we would reference based on just a human body being rested and ready to go. I can't think of a worse situation to play overtime, then play in Utah, and then the next night play in Denver. I just probably look elsewhere for me personally. Thoughts on Simons, Mitchell, Ellaby, James Johnson, Şengün, LeBron, Winslow, Jokic for tournaments? I think all that makes sense. Who is Davion Mitchell? Okay. I was wondering what Mitchell you're referencing. Davion Mitchell? Yeah, it makes sense. Crowder over on rebounds a steal. Check it out. I don't mind it. Harrison Barnes rebounds over 6.5. What do you think? The minutes should absolutely be there for him. Matt, appreciate that sub. Welcome aboard, buddy. I'd rather let Plan B give me a haircut than roster Nick. I just think today I don't need to do it, right? Go and choose best pick. Patty Mills, Diallo, or Franz Wagner on Fanduel. Diallo. Are you thinking Ham Diallo? Probably Franz Wagner for me. He's just Iron Man when it comes to starting playing minutes, and it's a really positive matchup. ID, would you rather Lance Stevenson or CJ Ellaby? I think Lance needs a couple more things to go his way to kind of pop here. I still think, even if Brogdon's out, you'd probably see Kiefer Sykes draw the start, or you could see Kiefer Sykes draw the start, so you're still banking on Lance off the bench. Ellaby has not been like crushing it consistently, but might be third on shot attempts now. I don't know who would be number 3 now. I think it's Simons, Nurkic, and then we go from there. I guess McLemore. If you give him the same amount of minutes, I'd probably take Lance, but that's an ugly spot to be in. I'd probably want to be a little bit more comfortable. Dumb trade. Kings Halliburton is a future All-Star. Yeah. I think that's a general agreement there. 300 viewers. What? That's crazy. Hey. Let's go. Corey, appreciate that sub. Royce cost me 2K last night on PrizePicks. Dang, bro. What up, Louie? Thoughts on Jokic versus no Mitch Rob? Yeah, Jokic has every right. I mean, if Jokic is the highest scoring player tonight, are you shocked? No. I have him right now second to Doncic, but that was before the Knicks news came out. So if I tighten no screws, it's very reasonable to see Jokic top 1. And Rob points on a 10-game slate just might get you to that dog a hunt, right? John Collins over points. Thoughts on center position for Indiana? So they could have too many cooks, right? Have you ever heard that song? They could be like appropriately priced. Like it could be Goga, it could be Brissett, it could be Terry Taylor in the mix. Terry Taylor has an illness, by the way. And then Isaiah Jackson is questionable. So I guess there's a world where Brissett, Isaiah Jackson, Goga, and Terry Taylor all play. And then it just might be a bunch of average outcomes. I think what we'd like to see is 2 of those guys to be out to kind of hunker down. Brissett doesn't seem like a big minute guy anyway. Goga has been a guy that we've seen get decent run. But I think that we're going to need news to really narrow down our expectations for that one, Got a lineup with Luka, Booker, Ingram, and Embiid. That sounds good, but what else is in that lineup? You know what I'm saying? We're popping off. Yeah, we are. No, I'm not popping off. Y'all are popping off. And if you pop off for 53 more likes, you would set the like record. You guys already hit the viewer record, which is so incredible. Wow. I mean, just wow. Appreciate you guys so much. It seems like is it a Tuesday thing? Because the last one was the 31st. 31st was last Tuesday, wasn't it? No, it was last Monday. Okay. Pacers lose by 30 tonight. Herder over 1.5 threes in a blowout. I like that. What up, Abel? Win for super values and 3 over 10K players be a popular place. Oh, Will? Yeah, Studs and Scrubs is it built itself right now. You just take the can't miss value and then you just have the salary for those studs. I really like, depending on what sites you're playing, like I'm so locked in on Ingram and potentially J-Val, and I just love that spot that they're in. And I guess they haven't hit with the trade, right? Josh Hart, NAW represent, could be 45, 50 minutes, but I just think the matchup is so hot that I was going to be on those guys no matter what today, right? Some people in the chat are the 4 players in that line. Some people, we got Dang Lazy Mofo playing forward in that lineup to get everyone else. And Carter, appreciate that sub, man. Appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Wait, do we see a world where Randall plays center? I think that's very possible. Audio. It's also possible that he doesn't play. But yes, actually, I think it's very realistic for Randall to play some center minutes. It's not Rusty. What up, members of the body? Tuesday thing, homie. You're putting on a great show. I appreciate that. All right, Portland hosting the Magic. So this game, I think, will be the bulk of a lot of interest today for obvious reasons. Orlando Magic project starting 5, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Bamba. He's got hoes calling up against the Blazers in their very, very limited available list of basketball players: Anthony Simons, Ben McLemore, CJ Ellaby, Justice Winslow, and Yusef Nurkic. I don't know for sure that that middle of the sandwich is it, but we expect Simons and Nurkic, probably Ben McLemore. Ellaby starting, but no matter what, their rotation is really, really, really light. We got 220.5 total. That was 1.5 point spread. Has that moved at all since I've been on the air blabbering? It's a pick 'em. How bad do you have to be, looking at you, Orlando, to be a pick 'em against 7 guys? That's incredible. So this is a late night hammer for the ages here. I think this will represent a lot of ownership, and on FanDuel, Anthony Simon stands out a lot. And you think about what has been removed from this Blazers lineup: no CJ McCollum, no Norman Powell. A lot of the scoring is going to come straight from Anthony Simons, at least perceptually. So let's go to the on-off court tool. Let's take off some people here. Let's put Powell let's put Simons and Nurkic on the court. And we did this on the PrizePicks stream earlier, but over 200 of you guys weren't there. So we'll do it again for this stream. Let's take off Powell. Let's take off McCollum. And also, I guess Dame is worth taking off as well. Did you guys think that was a good trade? For who won that trade, the Blazers or the Pelicans? I'm curious. Simons has a 25% usage rate in this split. Nurkic 29%. If I take off Rocco here, this is probably going to make it 20-minute sample size. So really just going to have to eye test this one and presume that Simons and Nurkic will split 25 to 30% usage rate somehow and fill in the gaps. And I think Nurkic against the Orlando Magic profile as well. The only thing that kind of scares me about this game is that the Blazers have a for sale sign up, right? Moving a lot of pieces. Will there be more? Is Nurkic on the block, right? If that happened later in the night, that would definitely panic button us into crazy amounts of Justice Winslow. 220.5 total though. If it locked right now, Simons and Nurkic would absolutely be front end interest for me. And then Winslow, 3K bare bones win on DraftKings, 4,500 on FanDuel, certainly has a real shot to project as one of the best points per dollar values on the slate. I'm getting nearly 30 fantasy points on both FanDuel and DraftKings, which is I would gladly take that. I would imagine some of you guys that have dropped some crazy stud lineups will also have Winslow in that lineup as well. Winslow 25 minutes against Charlotte, 26 minutes against Miami, exceeded 30 fantasy points. Real chance that he fills out the stat sheet peripheral wise. Never really expect him to do much from a scoring standpoint, but could he, like if Robert Covington was 3K and 4,500 today, and this, would you play him? Probably. So we'll probably get some Winslow shares. I think McLemore, Ellaby, those are going to be a little bit harder to get right here. I'm getting okay projections, not great, but not bad. So they're kind of just going to be stocking stuffers for me. Put them in the back end of the pool. But Nurkic and Simons is a huge start. And somebody asked about Franz Wagner. I'm getting a 30 fantasy point projection on him. And then Wendell Carter, sub 7K on DraftKings. I'm really liking my fantasy projection on him at over 40 fantasy points on both FanDuel and DK, but DK being a little bit more of a bargain. So I definitely don't mind that. I guess if we put all the magic together and run the numbers, man, chat is thumbing right now. Thumbing. Doug's gonna go off. You think so? I like it. Who goes off for 10x on FanDuel? Probably one of these 4K players, right? What am I doing? Oh, Magic. Let's put all the Magic on the court. This game is really a pick'em, right? The Magic are almost full strength, and the Blazers are like low morale, wondering who's going to be on the team tomorrow. None of their core players, and they're still a pick'em. That's incredible to me. All right, Wendell, Mo Bamba. Put them all on the court together. Hold your nose and breathe in. Squeeze a fart. Okay, buddy. So pretty evenly distributed usage rates amongst the starting 5 here. So I think you really just tack on what's the who dominates the matchup. And on the season, Wendell Carter's been the best per minute play. So yeah, I think I'm fine with sticking to Wendell Carter at under 7K on 2K. But I probably sprinkle in most of these Magic players. I'll get to a little bit more Wendell Carter Jr., Franz Wagner, because I think their floor for their price point is a little bit more stable than some of these other guys here. But Cole Anthony is in the mix, looking for 40 plus fantasy points. I think he can get it. Maybe I stagger. How often does Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs have a coexisting ceiling? Is that something we can look up? Let's see. Jalen Suggs, DKP by game log with Cole Anthony. Let's go last 10 games. And then let's run a dueling query on another tab. And go Cole Anthony, DKP by game log with Jalen Suggs last 10 games. It's kind of like, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Like, how often do they both spike? And if we find that there's correlation between one guy cannibalizing the other, maybe we set a rule on Fantasy Cruncher to not have these two in the same lineup. But I tell you what, man, this is a Blazers team that could be the worst defense in basketball today. Looking at the team metrics chart, the Blazers had a bottom 5 defense as is, and they've since lost Robert Covington, Tony Snell, Larry Nance, you know what I'm saying? Guys like that. So I don't feel like they got better. So the Magic being one of the worst offenses in basketball, kind of like unstoppable force, immovable object, right? Magic having a bottom 10 offense. Did they get? Oh no, I'm sitting here looking at pace. Magic having a bottom 3 offensive efficiency. Something's got to give, right? And I don't know. Usually the offense will. I always say bad hitting beats bad pitching in baseball. Maybe bad offense beats bad defense in the NBA. So Jalen Suggs' highest score in his last 10 games is 46. That was 8 games ago. Coincided with a floor game for Cole Anthony, 28 minutes. And then Cole Anthony's 40-point games, 44 and 52, came in 4 and 5, 6, 7 games back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 28, 5, 6, 7, 23. Would you guys be against setting a rule to not have Anthony and Suggs in the same lineup, or are we just overthinking that and just they suck and they've been blown out a lot, right? I don't know. I think I want to govern my exposure to the Magic here. I think they all project okay individually, but do they all thrive individually or as a coexist at these? So I don't know. I guess if I had to rank them, it'd be Wendell Carter 1, Cole Anthony 2. Maybe Franz Wagner's 2B based on floor, but the ceiling on Franz Wagner alongside these guys may be a little bit lower than what we wanted. Does that say 320? What? Barrett hurts Randall so bad. A ball hard. Barrett's also been playing a lot of minutes too. So, who's my favorite player on this slate? It's probably gonna be Brandon Ingram on Fanduel. If you just mean who's my favorite player in general, I doubt you mean that. So we'll just stick with Brandon Ingram on Fanduel. Simon says all the usage against a bad team like Orlando is a must play. Yeah, I'm not gonna stay away from Simons here. We've certainly seen him break a slate. What's your thoughts on playing LeBron or AD as a leverage play, not running top 4 studs on the slate? I think that's fine, especially if you believe in that spread. We'll talk that game. Did we talk about that game? Did I skip that game? I did skip that game. Oh, that means I gotta hurry up. We got 2 games, and I'm trying to get you guys out of here in 10-15 minutes. I've seen you on the other channel. Enjoyed it. For the first time you got put in my feet. Man, I appreciate that, Matt. Yeah, man, I try to get this show done before lock, and so that it's just like a natural progression for you guys. So that's my plan. That's why I like doing the big slates alone. But y'all are nuts on these. So real quick, awards, the awards. We've just blown away our concurrent viewer record, and you guys, it's up to you guys to get your jersey in the rafter on those likes. We're at 140 likes. 171 on a live stream is the record. All this happened a week ago, by the way. So appreciate you guys breaking the live viewer record, but can you guys break the like record, man? I don't know, man. That's gonna be on you guys. Let's talk about that Lakers game real quick, and I'll try and speed run the last game. Bucks at the Lakers, projects 25 for the Bucks. Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Bobby Portis taking on Russell Westbrook. Malik Monk, LeBron James, Stanley Johnson, Anthony Davis. We got 232.5 total. 3.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Milwaukee Bucks. Kind of a low spread, all things considered, right? Lakers have been really, really not great. The Knicks were halfway to a blowout until Malik Monk went off in that third quarter. G-Town ball, appreciate that sub. And then Malik Monk turned it on in the third quarter, outscored the Knicks like 18-13 himself. And then the rest of the team put it together. Sans Westbrook. Westbrook had a very heartbreaking moment where the crowd begged him to not shoot a three. So Lakers getting some respect here on this spread here, and it's a really, really high total. And somebody asked, are the Lakers going to be low owned? Well, hey, if they are, the numbers kind of point in their way, in their favor for high total, and you can get some pretty high usage on LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Obviously, Russell Westbrook has kind of soured our expectations and our trust. He's 8,100 on FanDuel to get to 40 plus maybe. But Malik Monk, I think, is the decision to be made here, right? You think about what keeps games competitive with the Milwaukee Bucks. We look at that team metrics chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. Points in the paint allowed from fewest to most. The Bucks allow a bottom four amount of points in the paint, and it funnels offense to the three ball. They allow the most 3-pointers per game in the league. Who's the only guy on the Lakers team that you trust to chuck some threes here? That's going to be Malik Monk, right? So Malik Monk's somebody that if you expect the Lakers to drop 115, 100, even if it's 113 implied, Malik Monk's got to be a guy that's probably going to chuck 10 plus threes here in this split here. So it's 6,300 appropriately priced, probably. But I think from a real life standpoint, maybe more so for a PrizePicks standpoint, if that game stays competitive, I might have some action on Malik Monk real points because I think he's one of their few options to space this floor and get them some firepower from behind the arc. LeBron James, one of the lines we liked on PrizePicks, out to my boy Josh, was assist. He's at 6.5 assists. We ran his history, one against the Bucks, but just lately he's had a higher assist rate, 30% in the recent stretch with AD and Westbrook back, as Westbrook and Vogel's making business decisions to have Westbrook a little less involved, and LeBron with a higher sense of urgency for the Lakers to win has been just doing a little bit more ball handling. So I don't mind that 6.5 assist line for LeBron either. On the Bucks side, Giannis Antetokounmpo, if you're going to get 4 quarters of Giannis on primetime television against the King, Giannis has every bit of potential to be the highest raw point scorer on the slate from a fantasy perspective. Right now, I got him top 4. Mix and match that standard deviation. Certainly has an outcome where he's number 1. And then everyone else in this game, I think Drew Holiday's interesting. I think he's appropriately priced. Same with Chris Middleton. Both those guys are looking for 40-plus fantasy points. Bobby Portis stays at 6K, and I stay playing him. Looking for 30-plus fantasy points. I'll probably fall for that again today. Keep an eye on Grayson Allen, George Hill. They weren't 100% to play. If they didn't play, you might get some extra opportunities and value for Connaughton and Dante DiVincenzo. But do we need to get to that today? Probably not. And then on the Lakers side, AD and LeBron, probably the 2 favorites here. Westbrook, I'm scared here. If the Lakers get routed, right? If the Bucks blow out the Lakers, 30 hours until trade deadline? You just wonder. So, yeah. That's what I got on that game. CT says I got Giannis, Davis, Bron in a stack with dirt value. I like that, right? And it's pretty positively correlated. So, yeah. What up, Mac, man? I already logged in as 2 different users to drop a like. I appreciate that. What's up, Good Gun? What up, Valdo? You think Holiday's going to ball as well as LeBron? Yeah, you feel like it's not going to be all Giannis here. So if it's Drew Holiday or Middleton, go for it. I think with Drew Holiday, what's at least interesting is perhaps, catching some extra steals from Westbrook, who is very prone to turning the ball over. So Drew Holiday might be able to bust out for 40-plus. Somebody in the chat mentioned that he's from the LA area. Popped off against the Clippers. Maybe those same fans and narrative can be spinned here against the Lakers, right? What up, Mighty Saint? What PrizePicks were like on all this craziness? Man, there's a lot to like on PrizePicks, but I want to get you guys out of here in time. So Westbrook going under on everything on PrizePicks. Oof. Davis is playing so well, just scared when the glass bones will crack. Yeah, AD's a lock to visit the locker room, but more often than not, he come back, right? Where does Bruce Brown fall in at for the Nets? If Bruce Brown isn't starting, I'm really not that interested in him. He's more of a screen setter than anything these days, it feels like. And I don't know. I only ever played Bruce Brown when I thought he was going to play 40 minutes and maybe do some primary ball handling, but I don't know if that's the case. Chat, we got one game left on the docket. Do a pause for the cause. After this stream, I'm going to be in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP Discord. In this voice chat, you guys are welcome to jump in here. However, it is behind the paywall at RunDFS.com. Click VIP memberships, find something right for you. Every one of our passes comes baked in with a voucher towards Fantasy Cruncher. So if you guys are looking to have a companion to your Fantasy Cruncher ventures, managing your multiple lineups, Cruncher is such a powerful tool. Plenty of dual benefit to be had in a subscription here. That's going to get you access to the Discord, also access to the spreadsheet. I'm going to be listing my player pool for both Fanduel, DraftKings. We got the prop detector, and then of course I'll try and keep these projections up to date as we get into lock. But most importantly, we'll be in the voice chat, hanging out down the street. That DFS show. That was dumb. I don't know why I did that. Timberwolves at the Kings, main event tonight. Project starting five for the T-Wolves. Patrick Beverley, D'Angelo Russell crossing over with Anthony Edwards, Jared Vanderbilt, and Karl Anthony Towns. The big cat, Ernie Ladd, taking on De'Aaron Fox, Davion Mitchell, Harrison Barnes, Mo. How could you be so heartless? And Rashawn Holmes, 234 is our total 5-point spread in favor of the T-Wolves, Minnesota. So we'll start with the Kings. Kings obviously trading away Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield. You parlay that with the fact that Terrence Davis has been out and De'Aaron Fox has not been playing. However, Fox might be closer to in today than he has been in a long time. Looking at the status here from NBC Sports Edge, says he was a full participant in Monday practice, but Alvin Gentry said he'll be a game time call. So missing 8 games leaves us with conditioning concerns, so we might have to live with that. We know his usage is going to be pretty high. We probably lean on him to score a lot of real points, but right now I put him for 35 minutes. So until we get an actual quote that says he's going to be limited or questionable or out for conditioning, I think I'm just going to lean with 34 minutes, but I expect tons of minutes for Davion Mitchell, Harrison Barnes, and even Mo Harkless. And none of those guys are like fun, comfortable clicks today. But without Halliburton in the cut, there's certainly some usage to compensate for. And without Buddy Hield, there's a couple more minutes, a couple more shots to account for. So I don't mind leaning on Davion Mitchell here. I don't think we're getting like a super smash price here, but I do like I do think there's plenty of outcomes for some upside here, right? 40. We'll take 30, but 40 plus fantasy points is kind of what we would like on a slate this big. So I think that's possible. So I'm going to have some, but I'm probably going to have to govern it based on Fox's status. And then Harkless and Harrison Barnes, I'm a little bit more inclined to play Harrison Barnes here, but I'm not running to anything. But the 230 plus total will keep these guys in the player pool. Rashawn Holmes, Damian Jones in that front court have been kind of annoying to figure out. So I don't think today's a day I'm going to try and get it right. On the T-Wolves side, D'Angelo Russell is questionable. If he doesn't play again, I'm willing to spike my interest in Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. Towns might just get lost in the sauce on a slate that's going to offer us Jokic against nobody and Joel Embiid in a 1-point spread at the house. So Cat at 10K just might fall in ownership just because of that. And I'm fine with 10.2K gambling on a shot at 60 plus against a Kings team that has hemorrhaged fantasy points to opposing centers. Not only are they allowing the most points in a paint per game to opposing centers, but they allow the second most fantasy points per game to opposing centers on the season. So really big spot for Cat. Bigger spot for Cat if we can get D-Russ out and potentially Patrick Beverley out as well. If we look at this, the Minnesota news here, see if we can't get a lean. D-Russ is questionable with the shin, and Beverly is still questionable. So really no update, ankle, right? So that's what we're dealing with there. We'll be looking for that news to drop hopefully soon, but probably not, and deal with it from there. 320, what to stop it? What? Oh my God, 160 likes though. That's kind of weird that we're breaking a viewer record, but not a like record. What up, Jason? All right, props real quick. We'll wrap up some props here. I just want to remind you guys that PrizePicks is an incredible partner of the stream. Sign up for PrizePicks using code GUNDACKER. They support me. You support them. We support each other. I'm giving you guys PrizePicks content every day. You don't have to agree with it. Just talking points, thinking points. So we'll go over a few PrizePicks numbers that we do like. We will keep grinding price picks numbers as we get closer to lock. My boy Josh in the Discord crushing it, keeping track of it. So you guys are asking for some stuff to sweat. First of all, it is Taco Tuesday, so they're going to have the discounted Joel Embiid prop for another 2 hours. And then I believe they're going to a discounted LeBron James real points prop. So those are two things you can take advantage of. But the props that stand out that I can recall, one is Clint Capella first half fantasy points. He's been benched pretty consistently in the fourth quarter for Okongwu. And I think it's because he's a risk for free throws. It's also a lopsided game here. So I like his first half shot at 13 fantasy points against that depleted Indiana front court that they probably don't know who's playing right now. We mentioned LeBron James over 6.5 assists. That sounds pretty appealing. Anthony Simons real points is at 23.5. I really think this could be a 30 real point game for him. So I like that. What else did we like on price picks today? McCall Bridges PRA seems kind of low. Here's a guy in a competitive game that could play 40 minutes. 20.5 is something he's cleared in every game except his Washington game, which blew out and only played like 24 minutes. So I think somebody said he's from the Philly area, so you can get behind that. And that's I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm remembering from this far out. So that'll give you 4. That'll give you a starting point. But my boy Josh has a whole list of props. He ranks his confidence in them, and you guys should go take advantage of that. 172 likes. Oh man, you guys did it. We set records. So we have broken the like record. We have broken the viewer record. I'm gonna have to adjust this when I get the official numbers. I'll tweet it out. We'll adjust it, and maybe we keep breaking records going forward. Yo, Sean, appreciate that. Sub, welcome to the channel. Rodney, appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. All right, real quick, I'm gonna try and catch up on chat, and I'm gonna get you guys out of here so you can head over to live before lock, and I can head over to the Discord and get the pre-lock. Right. Hope Pagers can keep it close. Every point guard's been absolutely roasting him. Trey. Yeah, Trae Young is definitely in a good spot. A slate this big, he's definitely in one of the biggest lopsided spreads. I'm wondering what the ownership would be on the guy that might be on the other side, right? It could be Kiefer Sykes, maybe Lance Stevenson, 10-day contract revenge game, right? Davis is playing so well. Yup. Where does Bruce Brown? Nope. Hello, Wisconsin. Yep. Who's guarding Cat? Nobody. I know we aren't going to miss it by 21. Nah, you guys crushed it. Shout out to Wolves, who might actually win a playoff series this year, but probably not. Maybe. Russell stays healthy, you might get a series. You might. They have the talent, right? I miss Zion and Markelle Fultz. Dude, if Zion comes back, I don't know. I might have some fun with that. Maybe it's a 2K team. Devontae Graham, Ingram, CJ McCollum, Zion, and Jonas Valanciunas, right? That's a fun 2K team. Why not? Use Zion fried chicken apple. Come on. Will, what up, Will? I got one big question. Will the Lakers get rid of Westbrook, and who would they trade? Just guessing. Westbrook comes down to a contract, right? They don't have a whole lot of assets to tie to it. So it's like, what team really values Westbrook highly? I want to see Westbrook be great, man. I love Russell Westbrook. It's literally hurts to see him struggle the way he has been. It's even harder to see the crowd turn on him the way he had. But I get it. It's sports, right? I was a Yankee fan. I watched those people in the Bronx boo Giancarlo Stanton when he strikes out, but we know his greatness, right? Westbrook's the Hall of Famer. Simons, Ingram, Duarte, Garrison, Matthews, Carter Jr., Hayes, Şengün, Yahoo thoughts. I think all those plays are fine. Duarte seems like somebody that he's hit or miss for me, and Garrison Matthews would like to see him in that starting lineup, right? 500, you think so? Man, you guys are nuts. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Hey, tomorrow we're gonna be back. Josh Green. I don't have any Josh Green right now. You mean I didn't even think about Josh Green. I probably don't get the Josh Green. I don't know. Is there something I'm missing here? I don't have any Josh Green interests on this slate. Jim. Wall Westbrook trade. Wall is kind of, people are forgetting. I mean, it's always easy to forget the bad and remember the good. John Wall is years removed from NBA action, and his most recent year of NBA action really wasn't that much better than what Westbrook is offering right now. You're not getting a discount. So, and then I don't know if, like, I don't know if Houston would do that. You know what I mean? Colin says running LeBron and Giannis in one lineup, too much heat. too much fire. I mean, Colin, if you want to be nice and let other people have a chance at cashing, maybe don't. Where's Danielle cooking in the kitchen? I don't know. I think she's playing Fortnite. I'm not sure. Do I like Patty Mills? I'm probably gonna stay away from all the Nets, but he should have a big uptick in usage. The Celtics have been clamping, right? They have turned all the way up. So I'm not running to load up on Nets, especially if the field gets there. I think Patty Mills' exposure for me would just be like real point props and prop betting, you know. How many uniques on Fanduel tonight? I don't ever mess with uniques, especially on a slate this big. If your player pool is what it is, if you just have randomness, I usually just do 20% randomness. The uniques will take care of itself. So I don't even set uniques on small slates, but I always just leave it at 1. Anyway, tomorrow, what's the NBA schedule for tomorrow? We'll be back at it every day, every weekday, and then probably Saturday as well. Added to the rotation. Tomorrow's stream is going to be the same time. The DFS stream is 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. If you want to get started a little bit early, the PrizePicks stream is 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. Man, you guys are just ridiculous. You guys are nuts. I appreciate all of the love, all the likes, the subs, all that crazy stuff. We barely hit 6K a week or so ago, and right now we're looking at 6,390. So we're at like 40 new subs since this stream started. We might get 7K by the end of February at this rate. Maybe that's a little ambitious, but we might. 6 games tomorrow, and it's the final day before the trade deadline. So we'll see if there's any crazy news movements. I gotta get out of here, man. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you guys. I hope you crush it tonight. Let me know how you're doing. Twitter.com/Gundacker. Show me them screenshots. Otherwise, I'll be in the Discord. We're gonna be in voice chat. Come join it. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.